Hi everyone, this is Kelly with Kellyanne Crafts. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in McKinney, Texas. I can't talk today, but we're going to try. Um, and today we are on our fourth video for the month of January. Valentine's is always a fun time to make a bunch of fun cards, and this last card I'm so excited for. Even though it's a Valentine's card and we've already done 3 this month, this one I just had to do because it was such a unique fun fold that is, well, you'll see, it's really cool. Anyways, we are going to use stamps from here. We're going to use the Happy Valentine's Day. We're going to use the Love and the XO. We are going to, in the dies, be using this die cut here. Now, this die cut is created by taking the die for this and adding the die for this together to cut that part out. But we're going to use those little hearts in in our our thing today also. So with that, I'm going to get us started. I just want to put something in here that I left out the last time. There we go. Okay, now I'm ready. I'll move that aside. So let me show you this card. It is so stinking cute. So stinking cute. First off, we've got the heart, and that's die cut out. It is popped up with dimensionals. We did use the white embossing on here, powder, heat emboss. I think this makes a world of difference, and you'll see why. Then when you open it up, it says Love XO, and then the little hearts and things that came out of here are sprinkled in here. And I think that is just the sweetest thing. And then you open it up and you have this. So it's a fun fold, but it really is an easy fun fold, but very impressive. So you have lots of area to write your message to your Valentine. For the envelope, what we did is we've got the little hearts here, we put the big hearts on the envelope. So I think that's fun too. Okay, so where do we start with this card? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what came with the card. Of course, we have our envelope and we have our little hearts that are in here. I put them in a baggie so they wouldn't get lost. We have our mat for the front of our card, and we have our heart that has been die cut. We have a strip for the inside. This is for our envelope. This happens to be the inside of the card, and the very, very inside. The red piece is cut at 4 1/8, okay, by 5 1/4, I believe it is. Nope, 5 3/8. I fibbed. So 4 1/8, 5 3/8. This piece here is cut at just remeasuring myself, 3 7/8 and 5 1/8. Okay, so that it just mats in layers. It's just a 1/4 inch difference between the front and the back. This piece will get adhered onto here to match up, and you just have to determine which way you think is up or down with that, but I don't think it really matters. And then this will eventually get put in on the inside of our card. Okay, and that's the top part of the card. So it will go in here, should go in here, right in here. And yeah, I think that's going to be great. What did I do different here? Oh, I see what I did different. I scored this incorrectly. So this one is scored not far enough. So that's easy to fix. I'll show you how you fix that. You know, if nothing else, you will learn how to fix things when you come to my channel, because I'm forever having to fix something I did, and that's okay. I mean, it really is okay. It's not a big, it's not the worst thing in the world, put it that way. Okay, so this should really be scored at 2.5, and it was originally scored at 2, so it needs to be scored at the 2.5 mark. So let me bring in my trimmer here. We'll get this up here, and this is a trimmer blade, so I don't want to use that. I'm gonna put this at the 2.5 mark, and I'm just gonna come in and go ahead and score that at the 2.5 mark. It's gonna be fine. See, now it makes more sense to me. I knew something didn't look quite right because this piece, once put together, needs to fit in here. Just fit in here. It's got to have a little bit of room so it fits in between the fold creases so that when you close it, it'll close easy. Okay, now this is on the front, and if you don't like that, you can always add paper to it. For me, it's okay. It really is okay. The average person is just going to think it's some kind of decoration. They don't know you didn't mean to put it there. And I just use my finger to buff it out as best I can. It still shows on the front, but it'll be okay. So let's go ahead and just burnish this now that we have the correct measurements on it. And we're going to put that aside. Okay. And I am going to come over here and I am going to grab my envelope and I'm going to glue my embellishment on there before I do anything else with stamping. So this has an opportunity to dry while we're doing the rest of the card. Okay. And I put a pretty good amount of glue, but I put it on so thin that it's not very noticeable that I put glue on there. I just go pretty fast with it. Now, if you want the red side, do that, but I really like the hearts. It kind of just mirrors what's on the inside. I put this on here. This piece happens to be 6, I think it's like 6 by 2, 2 1/4. Oh, it's by 2. Okay, and I put it before the fold line on the back here. I'm going to come in on this side with my bone folder, flatten this out just in case there's any glops of glue so it doesn't bubble. And we'll just set this aside for the rest of the time. And we'll go ahead and we can do this part here. We can put this together. This also takes some glue. Not this, but this. So let's do that. See if I can get some of this gluing out of the way. Gluing out of the way. So what we want is we want this to line up perfectly with an edge. Doesn't matter which edge, just so you know it's going to be on the right side when you're done. And I just measure it together, hold it there, and I tap it down on the table to make sure it's where it needs to be. And that's it. Okay, that's not hard. Not hard at all. Very easy to do. And it lines up perfect every single time. Now your piece may be just a little bit longer. And if you're looking at me putting on this adhesive right now, you'll see that there's just a little bit extra right in there. Now if that bothers you, just come in from this side and trim it off. You can just go right along the cardstock. There you go. And it's gone. So now this can go on here. It's about it's a 1/4 of an inch smaller all the way around. So you have about an 1/8 of an inch border. Okay. We're just going to put this part together and nothing else. So we've got our envelope drawing. We've got this over here just stacked up waiting for us. And now we're going to get into, well, we could put this on. Before we do any stamping or embossing, we'll put this on. Now this does have a direction to the paper. Hopefully you can see that the flowers go up and down. So you want to be able to put that on the front here doing the same thing, unless you want them to be upside down or sideways. If that is your intention, then it doesn't matter. But if you're trying to keep the flowers like they're growing up the card, then you want to make sure it is a directional paper. Okay, these can all sit here for a moment while we get ready to stamp this. We're going to do our embossing first. And when we emboss, we're going to come in with our embossing buddy and just get any fingerprints, whatever, off of there. I'm going to do that. I'm going to open up the Versamark, and I have already lined up my stamps so that they can fit in here. To do that, to adhere your stamps to here, I would set them on this before you start embossing, and then go ahead. Well, you have to so that you can get the embossed stamp on there. But anyways, you are going to do that. That's how you can line it up to make sure it fits. So I'm just going to bring this in here. We want a good amount of the Versamark on here for this to have a good chance to do a nice embossing. We're going to go straight down and we're going to push all the way around, and I'm pushing pretty hard. I just want it to be really inked, and you can kind of see that it's there. So I'm going to quick shut this. I have my embossing powder here. I put them in little itty bitty things like this, and I can just scoop it onto there for right now. And that's looking pretty good. But if I think, oh, maybe I want a little bit more on there, let me put that powder on there one more time. Let it sit there a second. You want to make sure it gets into every little nook and cranny. I tap it a few times. That's looking really good. So let me close this up before I blow that all over everything and put that off to the side. I'm going to grab my little embossing reverse tweezers. This is part of the Stampin' Up! Heat embossing kit. I believe it is in the catalog. If it's not in the catalog, it's online. But you get a tray, you get your embossing buddy, and you get these silicone reverse tweezers to hold your papers. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to bring in an embossing gun, and I'm going to emboss this. And this time you guys get to see the magic, because a lot of times I do this off camera because, well, I don't think it's fun to hear it, but it's really fun to see it. Because it's like, bam, there it is. Isn't that pretty? Okay. And that particular heat gun is not from Stampin' Up, but it's one I like to use because it folds up. But the one from Stampin' Up is so powerful and so good that it goes even faster than that one did. So there you have it. So now we're going to do some stamping. So I want to stamp this love and XO, and you can do it any way you want. You can put just XOs everywhere, but I wanted to put the love in there. So I'm going to just set those over there. I'm going to bring those in here, and I'm going to bring in my stamps that I put them on, and then they stuck together. And I'm using real red for my ink, which I think is nice. So I want to XO. I'm going to XO this way. And then I'm going to love up here. I'm going to love. Everybody needs some love. All you need is love. Da, 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 da. That's a Beatles song. I don't sing it very well, but there you have that. I'm sure you did not come to this channel to listen to me sing, but you got it anyways. It was a bonus. It's a bonus part of the clip. Okay, so those are there. And now we have our little itty bitty hearts. And I'm going to put them out here, and they are bitty itties. I am not kidding you. They are just the tiniest little things. So this is where, if you have a take your pick tool, it's nice to be able to pick these up. Okay, But I'm picking them up to flip them around because they're upside down. They're kind of they're kind of concaved. And so if I can flip them over when I pick them up and put them down, then the glue is underneath them. I think these little guys are just a lost cause. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put a dab of glue. And I mean a dab. I'm just putting a little bit of glue there. I'm going to grab my big heart and I'm going to put it on there. Okay, stay. And now let's see, what did I do? I did three little ones in there. So let's put a couple dabs. Little dab, little dab, and a little dab. Now these are too big a dabs, but they're hard to do. Sorry about that. I had a sneeze in me. Oh my. Okay, so I will put one on there. And what happens is the glue, it won't make it stick. So then I have to put my finger in there. Okay, let me take a scissor or something to poke it down with. Because it's staying on the take your pick tool is what it's doing. Okay, now that heart is just wonky donk, but I can move it still, and that's good. This is really the hardest part of the whole darn thing. Believe it or not, it's just putting this on here and keeping those little guys where they belong. Okay, now I just need two more little dabs of glue. Two more dabs will do ya. Doot, 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 doot. And trust me, these are not very big pieces of glue I'm putting on here for these little ones if I can help it. Okay, are you going to stay on there? Okay, so I've got all my little hearts on there. I'll put that over on there. Now I am going to glue this in, and remember this is going to hang over a little bit. So I'm going to put glue on this part up here. I think you could do this, I know somebody's saying, but I don't want to use all that glue. I get it messed up. I think you could put this piece in without glue as long as you're good at lining it up. That's really the key. Okay, I'm not good at lining it up. I'm much better with glue. So that's why I use glue. Okay, so this is going to go in here. And we are going to line it up between the two fold lines. Okay, as best we can and as straight as we can. But we want it to be flush with the side. So we're going to make it flush by tipping it on its side and pouncing on it a little bit. There we go. There we go. So this way you get this to this. And now let's put some of my favorite things. You got it. Dimensionals. I love these things. Love them. Love them. Love them. And I like to support all of the, especially around the die cut area. I want to make sure I've got it as covered as I can. That's pretty good. I want to support that. I'll put another one over here. It's just because that's die cut out that I want to make sure that I've got a good support for that area. One in the middle, a couple more down the side. A lot of fun for 425, I'm just saying. That's if you're watching in the US. I don't know what it is anywhere else. But whatever it is, it's still probably not very much compared to other things. And you see, I've got fingernails, so I can pick them all off with fingernails. But if you don't, you know, the take your pick tool is really good at that. So this just gets centered in the middle of this. And I don't think I said what the dimensions were on the designer series paper. The background on the front is a 4x4 square, and this is a 1 inch by 3 and is, let's just measure it because I can't remember. Okay, so it's 3 and 7/8. 3 and 7/8. 1 by 3 and 7/8 is this designer paper, and this is 4x4 square. So now you have your card all done, and all we have left to do is trim our envelope. So let me get in here and do that. I really hope you've enjoyed these cards this time because I really had a fun time making them. And those of you who were able to do the class, I do appreciate you doing that. I will be putting up another set of classes here, probably in the next week or so. But it will not be Valentine's in February. It'll be something else. Maybe it's a bunch of birthday cards. Um, it won't be St. Patty's Day cards because I usually don't send those out, so I tend not to make them. So, anyways, there you go. I think these are fun little cards, and even with my boo boo in there, it's okay. It's okay. Again, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, please like and share and subscribe to my channel. Have a blessed day. Bye bye.